folks, it's the end of another month, so let's talk about everything that I have been working on in April, and a little bit of a life update at the end. Hey folks, if you're new here, I'm Dawn. This is Tangled Together, where I talk about my knitting hobby and the other things that get tangled up in it. So April has been a pretty busy month. I feel like I got a good amount of knitting in, but in some ways it doesn't really seem like it because I did restart a couple of projects that I had started early March. So first of all, what I'm wearing. This is my finished Anacortes tee. So I think in a previous video I accidentally said the wrong kind of yarn. This was knit up in Knit Picks Galileo, which is a bamboo merino. It's like 50% bamboo to 50% merino wool. And I dyed this myself. It was the Bear yarn, and then I dyed it using a tincture dye in a dusty rose. It came out a little bit more mauve-y than rosy, but I do love the color. So yes, I knit this in a size 4. I originally was going to do a size 5, and I'm so glad that I started over and sized down because the size 5 would have been too big. The size 4 is actually a little bit larger than I expected. I think that is due to the bamboo content of this wool. It had a lot more drape and stretch. I did do a gauge swatch, but maybe didn't do the best math on the gauge swatch, and also, 4 inches versus a whole sweater maybe didn't quite translate well. However, I'm so happy with how this turned out. It is very comfortable. I love the detail of the broken rib in the raglan shaping. The neckline feels very comfortable. When I first tried it on, the neck was really quite tight, and I was a little nervous about that, but in blocking, it all loosened up. The whole thing loosened up and is much more flowy and drapey. I'll try and throw in some insert shots. I did originally think about doing some waist shaping, essentially. I didn't end up doing that. Looking at the designer's finished object pictures and then looking at kind of the garment as I was making it, I decided I didn't want it to be as close fitting overall. And also I think that was a really great choice based on this yarn, because this yarn is very like drapey, flowy. So yeah, I think if it had a little bit more spring back from, like if I was doing 100% wool, doing the waist shaping would have been a good idea. I'm gonna stand up so you can get a little bit more detail. You can see this twisted rib detail along the raglan that also falls down the underarm and then the side. And I did do it the short sleeve version instead of the long sleeve. And yeah, and this great broken rib that I feel like really this yarn in the light like looks so good. So that is my finished object for the month. This is what I spent basically all of April doing. I had plans to work on some other things, and I just couldn't put this down. It was such a fun project to work on. It was really fun seeing, because I was doing this at the same time as a knit along, which was my first knit along. So it was really fun seeing everybody else's Anacortes projects. A bunch of people did shawls and socks. I know there are a few of us who are doing the pullover. And yeah, and it's been so cool, like seeing all of the different projects, and also knowing like I'm making this project at the same time as all of these other people around the world. I'll make sure to put links to Michelle Frazetta's YouTube and the pattern and everything down below if you're interested in making your own. I think the knit along might be going on till mid-May, so maybe, hey, especially if you do like some socks, maybe you can squeeze a project in, or if you're super fast, you could do the tee. I have a second project that is a almost finished object, and that is a sock. It's almost finished because I have to sew down the cuff. I did a little peacoat cuff and have to sew it down. And this sock is one that I was knitting while I was doing while I was walking. So just basic vanilla sock. I kind of used the toe and heels from, I think it's Splendid Soles, and then the peacoat edge as well. I switched to using some shorties, some Chai-Gu shorties on this. That made it go a lot faster than the 2 circular needle that I had been doing, because I'm not a fan of Magic Loop. And I decided to add in this purple edge because I'd gotten this purple in a grab bag from the Knitting by the Sea retreat, and it had the same color purple as a few of the little speckles. And I thought the little peacoat edging would just be cute and fun and adorable. I think my one complaint with the peacoat edge is I now have to sew down the seam, which I just need to sit down and do. And yes, and I will be working on a second one. This one I really only did while I was walking. The second one I'm going to keep as my on-the-go project. So I'll give myself the grace to like also work on it if we're sitting at the playground or just kind of out and about, like if I'm sitting in the car waiting for school pickup. Just so that I get the second sock done. I don't put it off and then end up with only one sock for a long time, because I do want to try and have a few more socks done this year to get through all of that sock yarn in the back. If you are noticing the knitting in the background here, I do have a organizing my stash video that I'm trying to remember. I think it's going to come out after this video. So a little sneak peek, something to look forward to. And yes, I reorganized, that took up like an entire day, and probably cut into some knitting time, but I reorganized my entire stash and discovered I have a lot more sock yarn. So I'll let you find out more about that in that upcoming video. I have made no progress on the Dagmar Junior. I had told myself I was going to try and finish this last month. I'm going to try and finish this in May, just so that it's done. I really feel like the shift to the warmer weather has just taken any motivation to do like winter knits, and I just would rather be doing something that I'm much more likely to be wearing soon. And also, like, my daughter's not going to be able to wear this until the fall and winter. But I do want to be done. I'm about halfway through with one sleeve, and then I'll have the other sleeve. So that's maybe a handful of days up to a week's worth of knitting, especially for like toddler sweaters. So I think what I really just need to do is to kind of what I had done with the cat knit last year, was to say, like, I'm going to pick this up and do at least, like, since it's sleeves, probably say like 5 rows. And then if I don't feel like continuing to work on it that day or that evening, I'll set it down and pick up another project. But most likely I'll just continue working on it, and then it will be done and it will be finished, and I can block it and set it aside for her to wear in the fall and winter. The other thing that I have started working on really only the last week or so, once I finished the Anacortes, I picked back up the Staffen Light that I was working on. And I did like I'd finished the back piece. I picked up and did the right shoulder by accident. I was supposed to do the left shoulder, so I frogged that, and then I started doing the left shoulder, realized I had picked it up from the wrong direction, so I took that out, and then I really stopped and looked at the pattern and realized I needed to size down. Similar to the sizing down the Anacortis, after taking that fit class of how to knit to your like dimensions and adjust the pattern at the Knitting by the Sea retreat, I realized I needed to size this down so that it had the right fit. So I have started over. This is about, I finished the first back chart, and now I'm on the like armhole increase for the back. It's really flying very quickly, just a couple of days to get this much done. So I might be able to get this done in the next month, because I'm probably going to have a little bit more knitting time. Although I don't know how good of like really think about it complex project knitting time is. It might be doing some more like stockinette socks. So just a little close up of the texture for this. Oh, and this is knit in Knit Picks Malaysia sock in the color Amaranth Flower. The Moby Junior that I was knitting is Hawthorn Confetti Speckle, I think. I'm doing the tank version of this, so this will be a good, like, hopefully I can finish it in time to wear it in the summer, if not a good fall, as well as just a layering piece, like wear it underneath some tops. I think this color might actually pair really nicely with the book club cardigan I finished, but that might be too much next texture. Toddler is arranged. Cool. What was I saying? Had to go over to the yarn storage to pull out the acquisitions for the month. I was very kindly gifted from Knit Picks a bunch of Swish DK. I guess I got selected as the ambassador of the month in, I think it was March. And so it arrived, we opened it up, and my toddler immediately was like, "Are you going to make a sweater for me?" So I guess, I guess that's probably what this is going to get used for. So I think that actually will look really nice. She wears like red and navy in her school outfit. So maybe doing like a navy sweater with this, what is it? Like nutmeg and squirrel color as some like color work details, I think could look really cute. Okay, so my plans for knitting in May, oh my goodness, it's already May. I would like to finish both the Moby and possibly the Staffen Light. I definitely want to work on that second sock. And there is also a pattern, I can't remember the name of it, I'll put it up here, that I would like to work on for my daughter. It's like a shirt dress thing, and some yarn that I got at the Knitting by the Sea retreat. Let me grab it real quick. All right, I have the yarn. So it is Araucania yarns in the Hasco Cotton Glisten. Here's the tag. And it is this really pretty, I might throw a picture of it because it's getting blown out in the camera right now. But it's this very pretty light, you can see it a little bit better over here, light pink with kind of like a little bit of an orange and a deeper pink, and it's got sparkles all through it. So I want to do this little like dress top thing for her, and it's cotton yarn, so should be good for summer. So yes, if I finish the Moby, this is what I'm going to cast on. So that might also be a good like motivation for me to finish the Moby so that she can wear this before the weather gets too cold. Those are my knitting plans for May. So I'd love to know, what is it that you have been working on this month? Do you have any plans for May already? And yeah, let me know down in the comments below. All right, let's do a little bit of kind of life channel update stuff. So if you are interested in directly supporting the channel, you can do so now on Patreon. We have revamped the Roll for Initiative Patreon and bundled it up with Tangled together. So now it is the like Wilmac, which is the umbrella, like our production company that does both Roll for Initiative and Tangled together and any future things that Ryan and I do. So you can head on over there. There are a couple of different tiers that allow you things like early access to videos, some Patreon exclusive input on what kind of videos I make here, as well as we're definitely going to do like a monthly roundup and maybe a few other Patreon exclusives. I would love to know if there's anything specific that you would like to see. Let me know. So yes, I'll make sure to put a link to that. So if you're interested in supporting us. To all of our existing patrons who've stuck with us over the years, thank you so much. It means so much, and I've really loved getting to know each and every one of you. And any future patrons, thanks. It means a lot, and having the Patreon support was what allowed us with Roll for Initiative to be able to like invest in better equipment and keep making videos. Especially like as we transition to being parents. And yeah, thank you. And then the other kind of life update things is I have been on the process of trying to find a new job. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of it. So I'm looking for work for the first time in like 14 years. And oh my God, the job application process, especially with all the online and LinkedIn applications, is just soul crushing. Especially the like ones that you just never hear back on. It's like, did a person even look at my resume? Did you have a better candidate? Was my resume awful? Like, why can't I hear back just at least a thanks for applying, but we went with somebody else? That would be great. So that has been a contributor a little bit, I think, to how quickly I got this done, because there was a good amount of stress knitting that went into this. And the other life update is in a few days from filming this, it will have actually already happened by the time you're watching this. I am going to be having a hysterectomy. I have a couple of large fibroids that have started creating some much more day-to-day problems, and talking to my doctor and talking to my husband and friends and everything, decided that it was time to just deal with it. And yeah, so I might do some kind of like recovery video or talking about like my experience, because I know for me that has been something that has been very helpful, of especially like people had positive experiences with it, going and seeing like how did it go, what did they find useful in recovery. There's going to be some things that are useful for some people and other people really don't find useful, but I find it super helpful, so maybe other people might. Kiri's watching Bluey. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an adjustment. It's supposed to be a laparoscopic, so it should be much faster recovery, minimal, incisions and all of that to recover from, but it's still having an organ removed. I've gotten like a hysterectomy pillow and a bunch of wedge pillows, got all of the like medications and stuff for post-surgery, and just going to try and take it easy, try and, take each day as it comes and push myself a little bit, like, to do the things that are good for recovery, not just, like, getting up and walking around, but not overdoing it, like, helping to build back up that endurance and making sure to keep a little bit of flexibility without, like, pulling anything. So, yes, if that's something that you'd be interested in, like a knitting during my healing process, or just a, like, my hysterectomy story video, if that's something you'd be interested in, definitely let me know. And it's definitely going to depend on, like, how I'm feeling. Right now I'm in a position where I do feel comfortable sharing it. I think it's really good to talk about some of these things and normalize it. So, yes. So if that's something that I can do, and I feel comfortable with it, great. Hopefully, I can be a resource or a comfort, or just somebody can look at it and say, like, hey, I also went through this, and it's nice to know, like, I'm not alone in my experiences. Yeah. So, wish me luck. Wish me some good recovery, good healing vibes. And I will definitely, in the comment, like, put a pinned comment or in the description, just kind of have an update. Because, yeah, I'm probably not going to be up for filming anything for a little bit. But that said, I have a couple of videos already filmed. That was something I kept myself busy and distracted from some of my other life stress by just making some knitting videos. So I'm very glad that for all of you who've been watching, because it's given me a nice motivation to have this positive community and positive distraction for myself in the last couple of months. And yes, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Someplace I call home.